Welcome back, folks. Great to have you with us. We're talking about so much in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. So in this feature now, we're going to take a look at the women's rugby training segment. Violets has been back in action. We have got some great footage from them. We're going to talk about the friendlies, safeguarding, and of course, there was a leadership workshop this past Monday with in excess of 70 people in attendance. Jerome, you sent us, before we look at it, you sent us a couple of clips there from the women's training.
Yeah,
where was this? What was happening?
It was last night at the HPC at Belleville.
Yep.
So we're building up now. So we're getting into lineouts. We're getting into rugby, full-on rugby now, because next Tuesday they're playing against the Springbok women's team. So
right.
Yeah, we're building up the rugby.
Exciting,
now.
Yeah. So this is what you've been like, similar to the administrative side that we were talking about earlier on, where there was this build up to the workshops, a build up to the forum sessions, a build up to releasing the fixtures and the logs and everything. Your training sessions, a build up to the actual first games. It's quite exciting. Right, folks, let's take a look now. Some of the highlights from the training session for the women's rugby yesterday. Jerome, talk us through that now. I mean, Faisal made the point that it looks very similar to what we showed last week and the week before, but when you look closely, there is a unique difference there in the movement, in the warm-ups, in the physical aspect.
Yeah, so what we did last night, we started 2 weeks ago with the calling. So we build up the calling. So
what do you mean by the calling?
The calling structure
like
in the line-out. So
hello, I'm calling you on the phone, or
no, so I educate them who's making the calls, who's giving the calls. So whether it's in front, whether it's in the middle, whether it's a back. So I educate.
So for someone who's never watched rugby before, when you're talking about calling, you're talking about someone has to throw the ball into the line-out, and it could be in the middle of the line-out, the back of the line-out, the front of the line-out.
Yeah, so it's simple. So the girls know. So if it's to the front of the line-out, so it's part of the calling,
yeah,
the jumper will jump and the thrower will throw. If it's in the middle of the line-out, the thrower will throw. Yeah. It's on the thrower. If it's at the back, the thrower will throw. And then you have certain calls. You can get A, B, C, or you can have 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Simple calling. The girls understand that, and they know. And also they know where on the field, where they're going to do a 5-man line out, where they're going to do a 6-man line out, where they're going to move. So that's part of the calling system. So that's what we've been working on.
I remember when I was at school, our calling system was animals. Yeah. So is that stuff that the guys still do? Like, for example, we knew that if you called any type of fish, it was going to be in the front. Yeah. And if it was going to be any sort of wild animal, it was going to be in the middle. And if it was,
I think yeah, it's pretty simple and it's basic. But nowadays with technology, people listen to your calls, so you can't actually say that anymore. It's like people say forwards are basically not the cleverest people, but they're the most cleverest people now.
Yeah, well,
in terms of the calling, because
interestingly enough,
the calling.
When I was at school, I was the hooker, and one of the guys in my team was probably the tallest guy in the whole province. So every call was always a fish. we didn't have to throw it to the back or the middle. It always went to the front.
But I think, JP, like what Jerome says, sometimes people say the forwards are not normally the most cleverest in that. But I think the call is based on that intelligence, you know, in terms of whether you keep it simple, whether you put numbers in, whether you have animals, whether it's just a tap before you get to the line out. I think you've got to work with what you have. And I think the key thing is just the communication more than anything else. But, you know, looking at Jerome, looking at last week, it just shows how it's back to basics. It's just keeping stuff simple. I mean, all the stuff you're doing there is all stuff that we did years ago. And I think that's what people need to understand. Keep it simple. Sometimes the simplest thing works.
It's still 100%. The same.
Right, we're going to talk more about that when we come back from the break. But don't forget, of course, folks, MChem 24-hour pharmacy. You can see it behind me there now in all its glory. That's, of course, MChem 24-hour pharmacy, on board with Cape Rugby TV and on board with Western Province Rugby. You see the Western Province logos there behind me now. They're, of course, the official pharmacy to Western Province Rugby. Now, MChem is just down the road from the High Performance Centre. And, of course, if you go down to MChem, you might even be lucky enough to see one of the Stormers players there when they get their some of their prescriptions or maybe some other products that they might need from the pharmacy. Of course, MChem has got multiple zones. Upstairs, there's the sports supplement zone. There's a fantastic coffee shop. There's a spa. Downstairs are the dispensaries. There's a travel clinic. So MChem has got pretty much everything you need. And of course, one of their additions in the last year or so has been the wound care clinic. So if you need to get your wound dressings done, of course, MChem, you can go there, and there's qualified nursing sisters available to help you. Well, I'm looking forward to see MChem behind me again there now. I'm looking forward to getting the IV, the intravenous, done. I'm going to be going down there soon, and I'm going to show you guys how I did it myself, where I get the vitamins and minerals put into my system. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking about club rugby.